Hello, everybody. Hey, this is Brian Stone, the owner of Monaco Sky uh, LLC, a drone inspection company and a consulting for facilities management. Today, I'm doing a presentation on the post-inspection report, and this is after I've run a contract where I can take the drones out and do some inspections on a roof. I do several angles. I'll talk about the details of that. And then I also do some thermal imaging and give a kind of an inspection report on that. So today I'm going to go through that, and this is for any viewers that are looking at what it is that we offer in terms of contract work. We've specialized in commercial and residential drone roof inspections. I also do procurement contract training for a group known as the Best Value or the Simplar Group contract work for education purposes, and then facilities consulting. Just a little bit of my experience, and this is on the video also that I made for presenting about, what it is we can do. So this is kind of the post report for it. I have over 300 hours of fly time, I guess you could call it. I teach drone use in my surveying class at a university, and I have a PhD in construction and facilities management. I also have done a lot of presentations and papers with drone inspections with facilities management groups and associations. Also, I worked as a contractor in a past life for 14 years as a general contractor under facilities managers. So I have some experience there. Let me talk about the inspection receivables. This is what a group or a client receives upon finishing or completing completing a drone inspection. Here's a quick list. You get a traverse inspection report, just a PDF copy, and this just shows what we did, what the area was, a summary. Standardized protocol of viewing each roof structure. That's about an 8-step protocol that I follow when doing the drone inspections. You get 3 layers of accessing photos and videos. That's we'll give you a thumb drive with a full copy of virtually everything that we took pictures of in an organized way so that you can see it by building. You also get the Google Cloud uploaded photos, same photos and video, but it's uploaded so you can access it through the third site there, which is the My Maps viewing. So that way you get a visual of your site, your location, your campus, or whatever area that you're overseeing. And then you can click on each point or pinpoint to view the information on each building. Each of these photos on the thumb drive are GPS recorded, dated, so you can see where they were, what location they were from the drone. The drones automatically do that. And then in the end, you have a dated record. And this could be good for insurance purposes if you're looking to re-roof or see how the buildings looked 2 years ago, 5 years ago. You can have a record. In the case that I'm using today, it was the year 2020. These videos, these pictures and things that were taken. So let me just quickly review you on the protocol for the roof inspections. We follow I think it's I got my numbering wrong. I just changed this morning. So it's actually an 8-step protocol. And these are the steps we follow. On the introduction video, I go through in detail what each one is. And this one here says step 6. This is supposed to be 7 and 8. So, oops, my bad. I'll make sure and change that on the next time around. But the point, though, is we follow all these steps for each building structure. And that way we record it, document it, upload it so that the client, the user, has easy access to it, and they can review in and out of it. So if you want to see that video, I go through those in detail. Here's an example of an overhead view, just to give you an idea. These are there's 2 types of, actually there's 3 types of data that we collect in terms of pictures. One is the thermals. So the second is the pictures, still shots. And then the third is just a short video of the building. And as you may recall, if you've seen the other video that I made, the presentation, we don't do too much video because it's a whole lot of data management, and yet you don't get that much more than you would from good still shots. Here's an example of a large structure here. I believe this was a chapel, a church, and overhead shot, you can see the general layout of the different pitches on it, and you can see the some patchwork that's been done. So an idea for when you're doing the drone still shots, this is what the user, the end user, the owners, the facilities managers can look at themselves and then get a visual on, oh, it looks like we have a problem on this spot. So it's pretty easy and straightforward. We have found that the owners tend to know what the roof is supposed to look like and what's not normal. So if we see something that looks off or different, we'll take close-ups of it and then let the owners decide what they want to do with that. This is an example of the section of the roof that is in good shape and does not need to be replaced. So in this case, they were trying to decide between patchwork or re-roof the whole thing. And of course, patchwork is a lot less expensive. Here's a demonstration on the mapping. So how to access it, how to use it. So I think I'm going to pull away from the presentation and go to a couple of different things. So, well, first of all, let me just show you what you get. What I have here on this screen here is anything that says, the example, this is a university campus. Anything that says WIU, that was the university we did work for. It shows each structure that we did. In a couple of cases, there were a couple of structures that were together. I think I have one folder for several sheds that were out in the playing field, the athletic fields. Just some quick shots of the shed roofs. But overall, you see that they have. Let's go to. I'll go to the Tanner building. Overall, each one, as you open it up, you can see the pictures in here. A couple of videos. So this is one video shot. And I'm just giving you an overview of what you get. So this was a student housing area. I think this is the dining area, or it's a kind of an open view, a lot of windows around the outside. So just a quick pan of the buildings. And of course, if you want, you can change this to see bigger pictures, larger views, and you get closer ups. Get a feel for what was on the roofs. These are from the drones. I think the stories is at least 15 to 20 stories high. And as I point out, that again, this is the thumb drive version of it, but you can zoom in quite a bit to see, to the point where you can almost see the pebbles. And I've only gone partway through, so you could get really close. It's you lose some clarity there, but you get the idea of how much power you have to view something. And again, this is the thumb drive version. I'll come back to some other examples here. So that's one thing that you get. And the other thing is you get this is Google Drive, kind of the cloud storage area. And you have the same set of folders, but these folders are on the cloud. You can actually send a link, create a link here, create the link. And you can send it to anybody you need to that needs to see it. You can copy it, make sure it's set so that anyone with the link can view it. So you copy that, you can email that to somebody, and then they see this same screen. And I'll go to a couple of, if I go into here, this one is the building called the Malpass, I think it's the library. And usually it loads pretty quick. I haven't pulled this one up for a little while, so let's give it a chance to load up. Okay, I just paused it and then it came right back up. So it was about 5-10 seconds. You can see a lot of little pictures. And then I have a folder here called thermals. And that is the thermal images. But if you don't like this view, you can change it on Google Cloud to the bigger pictures. And here you have a library on campus. Pull up the pictures. The zoom on this is a little different. I just use the roller wheel on my mouse. And then here's the overhead view. You can get up close. You can see it's got a skylight in the middle. I always want to give it a couple of seconds, 4 or 5 seconds to clear up. So this is as close as I can get the zoom, but you get the idea here. You can get a good view of the roof. You can see areas that might need some attention. And let me zoom back out. So that is the library, the Malpass library. Here's some other close-ups. I saw this area looks like somebody raked it, did some repairs, and then didn't put it back on or was working on something. So this gives the owner a quick visual of how that works. So that is, again, this is the Malpass Library. Let's go to another example. Multicultural building. This one is a unique roof because it has agriculture up top. It's got some planter sections. And again, you can see the roof looks like this from the top. Close-ups there. Give it some time to clear up. So it's a very unique roof, and you can get some side views of what it looks like. And remember, the main thing we're looking for on the drone images is penetrations and parapet walls, and then anything else that looks out of order. Here is a close-up of, looks like a section that they have put some tile down. So the owner, again, has a time-stamped version of that roof, and they can look at it, they have access to it, and it's in the cloud. So this is, like I said, it's in the cloud, the version, that's the second one. The third version, and this is with a program called, I'll just type it in, it's Google My Maps. What we did was, I'm going to open this up first. There's My Maps, and I'm already logged in, so I'm going to, it's just with my Google account, but the folders are linked up. So here's a set of maps that I've set up for different projects that I've done. The one we will work with is WIU campuses and structures that I'm showing today. But this all links up with your account, and if you can create a link from this map and send it to anybody that wants to see it. You can share it. You can make it private, but it can be shared. And what they get, let me show you. In the case with the university, they have 3 main sites. One is right off the Mississippi River in Moline, Illinois. That's where they have a few buildings, and then they have a lot of structures. I'm going to zoom in here. A lot of structures in the Macomb campus. Everything in yellow, the pins, is a structure or a set of structures. So today, I'm going to go through, I'm actually going to go through the main thermal ones when I get to that. But what I did here was, let's just say you have a building here. This is Curran's Hall. You can get a close-up on the map. This works just like, it is Google Maps, but it's linked in a way so that you can personalize it a little more. So here's a structure. It's got a round section building and then several layers, several levels. But this is called Curran Halls. You get the GPS location based off of the map. And then you can click on this link to see the drone pictures that were taken. Again, you can see the verticals. I'm going to do some close-ups. Each one of these, you can get quite close on them. So let's go to this one here. So this one shows some vents, heating, air conditioning vents, air handler vents. As they come out, we try and get a couple of angles. And if the sun is pretty bright, I'll try and get a couple of pictures sometimes so I can get the lighted up version of this angle as well as the other side. So the other side here. Okay, so this gives you, I'll show you how close you can get. So this is as close as it gets for each picture. It's not bad for somebody that doesn't have to walk the roof to do a quick check. Let's see. These pictures, oh yeah, these pictures can also be downloaded. So if you click on something, and you think, I want to get a picture of that, or I want to email that to somebody, you can download it here, the download button, or you can do, I think there's a way that you can, well, you can make comments on it, which I show you a little bit later how I do that. You can also print it out. What was the other thing? Yeah, I know you can make a link with it, but I think the way you make a link is to right-click on your mouse. Right-click on your mouse, and then it says get a link. So you get a link. You make sure that the link is so that anyone with the link is available. So you can copy this link and share it with someone on an email or whatnot. So that gives you an idea there. Very useful because it's very accessible, and you can hand this off to a roofing contractor to say, hey, this is our roof as of such and such date. Let me show you how it works with the video footage. You can download the video or you can play it. Now you may notice here it's pretty blurry. That's because it takes a little while when you're streaming a Google Cloud saved video here. So I back it up, give it a second run. That's what I usually do, and then you get a lot better clarity on what it looks like. And again, the purpose here is to just see the penetrations, the overall building shape, and get a feel for the layers, the levels, so that as you get to the close-ups, you can remember, oh, that's right, this is the building that has this layer and that chiller on top. Okay, so that is, I apologize, I'm working at home today, and I got 3 kids in high school on computers, and my wife works, so there's a little bit of noise in the background. Hopefully you can all relate because we're all in this together. Okay, so I was doing the videos there. I think I can go back to the presentation. So that was a demonstration of the mapping. And again, there's thumb drive. There is the cloud-based Google version, saved version of it, and then the maps, the mapping version. And in this case, you can go to any other map. I mean, if I wanted to go to the, in this case, we got a close-up of the football stadium. There's a little, what do they call it? Media box where the people work. This is let me get the box here. There's a picture of the roof where they broadcast out of the filming crew. You can tell they leave this stuff out all winter. So anyway, so you get the idea though. You can get these close-ups and get a feel for what's going on there. I took some close-ups just to show how close you can get to a the lighting on the stadium. And you can get pretty close if you're looking for hornet nests or wire connection issues, the wear and tear on these clamps for the lights. So that's the back side. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape. And I wanted to show the front really quick because you can also do a kind of a light bulb check, or at least a check from the front side. Remember, always give it a couple of seconds to clear up, to finish loading, and then you get some pretty clear pictures here. So, okay, so that is, hopefully that gives you an idea for the cloud-based version. Let's get back to the presentation. And we're done with the presentation of demonstration of mapping. And remember, there are 3, in this case, there were 3 sections, 3 areas. I guess I should do that really quick. There were 3 campuses, I guess, 3 sections. One is in the city of Macomb. The other is just outside of Macomb. It's called Hornfield. And here you have a radio tower. You have several, I guess you could call them bungalows, and then a place where the caretaker lives. That's their structure. So, yeah, that gives you an idea of each one. I did catch a, well, let's see, pull this one up. This one shows the chimney close-ups. You can check the grout work. You can check the gutters. I had a client that we worked with before. They said they spent a day or two days with 2 guys on a man lift machine, and they have to go around and look at all the gutters for their property, see if they need to be cleaned out. All right. Well, and then I just wanted to show on the map. Sorry, getting a little jumbled up here. So you got this site here. The third one I wanted to show you was the one out in Moline, which I mentioned before. And I'm just zooming out. When I zoom out, I roll with the mouse. So about an hour and a half away is the other campus, and that's in Davenport, Moline area. That's, they call it the Quad Cities. Again, you can see these structures. Anything yellow in this map, I coded yellow, is going to be points that you have links to. Here's the structure just right off the river. So let me show you some close-ups. This one also has some agriculture on the roof, but you can get an idea. I'm going to zoom in here, show you how close you can get, looking at drains, any other debris inside there. Leaves. In this case, you've got some soil and things from the planter boxes. And what was I going to show? I think I wanted to show the close-up of the planter boxes here. And in this case, it was a pretty cloudy and cold day, so not a whole lot of brilliant color. but these are planter boxes, planter sections. I'm sure it looks a lot nicer in the summer and the spring. Okay, so let's move on then. That's what I have to show for now on the map, my map section. I think it's very handy because again, you can pass this around. It's saved on the cloud. You have your backup copy. Now let me move on to the thermal imaging section. So with thermal imaging, we have a specific camera on a drone that picks up heat sensitive changes, and then you can color code them. It takes a little bit of calibrating on the drone, and you can only do this during specific times of day to get optimal readings. The time's usually around sunset on a nice day. You don't trying to do it in the rain is, I think, a lot more difficult because the water spreads things out. So here are a couple of videos and I have them, yeah, they're linked to this presentation. I'll try and put them on along with this as I turn this into you. But this just shows, these are some great videos that show what it's like to, I'm going to turn the sound down. What are some of the issues you're looking for when you do drone roof inspections? This first one is at the 32-second mark. I'll leave it here and let it play. So in this case, you have, they have a piece of wafer board wood OSB. They put some, I think they put some pad underneath, but they also pour some water underneath, put wet, I think it was wet rags or wet sponges underneath. And then they cover it with a typical, blacktop rubber top that you might see on commercial roofs, flat roofs. Then they let the sun stand on it, and they do a thermal scan of it, and you can see that the water, because it's heating up in the day in this part, the water takes longer to heat up, and it spells the word wet. That's where the water is. Well, the opposite happens as you go into the evening. The sun is setting, the roof cools off, and then you get some water damage here. And I call it water damage. Really, it's just moisture. But whether or not it's damage underneath, whether it's leaking through, it's not sure, but at least it gives you an idea where it's coming from. So let me fast forward here to another section. These are just important things that I spent a lot of hours looking through, and I'm just summarizing it for you to show what we're looking for on the thermal roofs. Here you have a thermal picture taken in a section that comes out a lot warmer, but this one makes it easy because it's right along where the boards are underneath. Another thermal scan. You can see where the boards are moist, or the moisture is showing there, and then they go ahead and spray paint around it. Let's move on to the other video. This one also has some great footage of it. This is at the 305
see how it's giving off heat.
So these are
So let's do a
handhelds
quick
that they're
scan of
using.
this roof and see how much leakage
nice
they
thing
have.
with the drones is you can fly them around, move them around a lot quicker.
Color change here.
Okay, I'm going to turn off his volume. And you can see they're going around. Now, the thing here's when you're doing drone scans with the thermal camera, you've got to distinguish between what is coming out of a vent. I'm going to pause that video. Oh, it just went blank. How do you get that off there? What's coming out of a vent, which is just heat from the building, which is normal and typical. What might be coming out of a air conditioning heater, that's typical and normal. But this little line you see right there, what that is moisture that's coming from a leak in the rubber, and then it's moving along the foam pads underneath the roof. So that's how you get this situation where it's leaking in one spot on the roof, and yet it shows up somewhere 10, 30, 50 feet away on another section of the roof. So you see those lines there, and that takes some practice. Oh, let me see if I can catch that there. Okay, so you can see they're adjusting their camera here. That little tiny leak there going along the crevices between the foam boards under the roof top layer. And it's possible that it's coming from this area here. Now this takes a good amount of practice to start to realize and figure. And there are times where you have a spot that's getting moisture in, but there's no leak. And so again, it's a bit of a cat and mouse game. But considering that 1 or 2 generations ago, before cameras, thermal cameras, people would just walk the roof and kick around and step on it and try and find the mushy spots. You can see he's got some sections there, following the leaks there. And so that's kind of the cat and mouse game of finding leaks. But the idea with just using this technology shows how it can help to quickly at least point out sections and say, hey, this is a spot you want to look at. There's another spot you want to look at. Here's another one example. You see that. And I wanted to show the other one at 5:52. So 5. So I'll push play. Okay, so again, you see these streaks. Now, sometimes these are easier to find, sometimes they're not. But the main thing with the thermal inspection is that you're trying to show points that say, hey, consider looking in this area. If we were to do a full-fledged drone inspection and walkthrough, we would spray paint off these areas just with some markers and then take some pictures on that section too. So that gives you an idea of what we're looking for. Let's go to the next slide. Let me turn this off. All right, here's an example of a roof on the campus. This one is at the, I think it's called the Head Start Child Center, where the, it's just a child daycare center. And one section of the roof, you can see obviously, this one was easy to find. It was probably the best example here. But you can see the same roof on the left, right side, all of these sections. It's hard to tell where the source is, but you do see a lot more heat signature coming here. But this whole section is probably a mushy section. My guess is they have multiple drip spots in the inside of the building underneath here. And you can see it's even by boards. So that area is a big one. That's an example of what we're looking for. And so let's look at some samples. I think this last part here, I'm just about done with the presentation, but I'm going to look at this last part. We're going to go, and this is the part that's going to take a little while. It's kind of tedious, but I'm going to go through each of the main flat buildings, flat structure roofs, and kind of show what I found. The first one here is the southern building on the corner. This is Quad Cities. And I'm going, each of these folders has a thermal folder. So you can go in here. And when I took the camera around, I was just looking, each of these, you have the same picture here in pairs. This is the actual picture. And then here's the thermal scan. What I really did was just take the drone around. You have to tweak the settings just right for temperature. Make sure it's the right time of day. On this particular drone day, it was cold, but the sun was covered by clouds. And so I'm just looking for anything that's a signature, like, hey, there's some heat issues there. In this case, you see a little bit of heat there. This is a drain. So you have a spot here. This is worth pointing out. And what I'm doing is just saying possible moisture area. Okay. And so if you're able to get someone out to look at it, here's another one. I'm just going to write possible area. Now you have this other section here. I'm going to leave this one alone, but just because you get the idea of what you're looking for. And this could also just be heat coming from the vent, coming out from the vent. There's another little bit there. So again, these are just suggestions. And that's that one picture here. On this one, these others, I didn't really see much. As you can see, as you look at this one, there's a warm area there, but I come to find out it's just a different surface. On that building, I didn't remember seeing a whole lot else. In this particular picture, I think this is more the vents, hot air coming out of the vents. So that's one building there. Let's go to the next. I'm going to open up. I'm going to shut down some of these others so I don't get too mixed up. Next over, this is the building that's a little farther away from the river. And again, I know this part's pretty tedious. That's why I wanted to put it on video so you could fast forward or back it up. Somehow I got the same structure. Oh yeah, this is the other structure here. Oh, you know what? I think I covered both buildings there because I put them on the building is tied together. It's all linked by the halls, and so I counted it as one building. So, and then I think this third one is stretched out on its own. Okay, so let's pull up the thermals. Yep, I think okay, so in all three cases, what I'm looking at is I only took pictures where I saw things that look like an anomaly or a heat, something related to the heat increase there. So that's it for that building. Let's go to this next one. And I'm just going to go, north to south in terms of campus and everything. Let's go to the thermal buildings. All right, so here's the top view. I wanted to point that out. So the building looks like this. You can see some heat signatures here close to the vents. If you go to the actual picture, I'm going to the left here. These could be water spots. There's a little bit of water left over. But I'm going to show you some things on the heat signature that show that there is more to the heat or the cooling area than just the water spots. So let's get to the close-ups. Well, I'm gonna do these close-ups now. So here you have a close-up of that area. You can see it's a lot warmer here. But if you look at the actual picture, it's the warmth area is bigger than just the water spot. So you have possible areas of temperature looking at change. And what from my research, I found that it is common to get a little bit of a leak at the drain where it leaks inward, or sideways. So putting extra moisture area there. And here's another one. Oops. Okay, it's asking if I want to download. I don't want to download. I just want to see the picture. Again, you can compare that with what you're seeing here, and the water is not as a little bit of water there. The bigger area is the heat signature area. So it'd just be worth looking at. And I'm going to put a little little note there. Okay, so you get the idea here of how you're playing the cat and mouse game of that, looking at these. Some of these others, and keep in mind when you're looking at these pictures, there are times where you're looking at something and it turns out it's not much. It could just be a dirt on the surface. Here's a thermal section here. You can see the walkway is showing up a lot bigger. That's definitely not an issue. But but you're showing heat signatures here, here, and here. And again, if you look at, where was I? This is right here. So you've got heat signatures there, cold spots there, and then that could just be water. I'm going to assume that there's not much there, unless you know there's a leak in that spot. Here's some other pictures of the tops. So if you're going to look at anything, that's something you may want to consider, just getting a visual on site. This is on the corner of the building. I saw something, and this isn't necessarily a leak or anything, but on the corner of the building here, I saw a cold spot, which I couldn't make sense out of, so I just took some close-ups of it. In fact, as I got really close, you can see it's definitely something cold, and yet when you go to the picture, it's just, I don't know what that is, but that is something to consider, and it's on the corner, this corner here of the building that you can look at too. So that's the next building, the Moline section, and that's all of the campus for Moline. So I'm going to start going down. Now I'm going to go to the Macomb campus section. There's Monmouth, going back down Macomb. You can see there are at least, I think, 60 or 70 structures here. And what I'm going to cover is just the just the flat roofs, especially the ones that seem to have, and just the spots where it seemed like there was some thermal issues here. So let me go to my favorite one, because this one was like just out of a textbook. This is the Head Start Child Care Center. Um, had a nice day, nice evening. Oh yeah, and on this one, because it's such a simple roof, I decided to just take the thermal camera and take the pictures with the thermal camera. So you can see I got the vertical picture. I know you can edit these pictures, lighten them up a little bit. You can download it and then lighten them up. So this one's a little hard to see, but pretty plain square roof. A few penetrations here and there. Here's the heat signature of the roof, and this is where you get it. Look at that. All of this blob there, blobs all over here. In fact, I'm going to add this to it. So possible moisture. And it's possible, it's possible that some of this is left over from the sun. You can see a heat signature here. That could just be a wall on the roof. I'll look up some close-ups here. This whole section here, I mean, it's possible that there are leaks, but you also get a lot of heat signature from the, in this case, it was the heater. It was a cool evening, probably in the 50s, 40s that night. And the sunset, this is the west side, so you got sunset a little more here, but still, you've got sections possible moisture. And when I put these comments here, when you look them up, they should show up. So you can look at them and say, okay, or print out a picture of it, and just say, all right, let's have a look when we're doing our maintenance routine on the roofs. I got some close-ups of that section. This is the blob there. And you can you start tracing down. Well, where is it coming from? My guess is it has something to do with here, but it could also be here. Just do get a visual on that. I don't remember if I got close-ups of the other end. I got some sections here. Here's the other corner. So that big blob is there. So you have some other heat signature areas here. I should have just put that copy paste. I'm gonna copy that. Okay. So and then another one here, but again, I'll look at the pictures, and you could just see what's on the these. It's nice because it gives you the side by side. So here's the side by side of that possible blob area, and then another section here, and it looks like this heat here is coming from a tiny parapet wall, and so that should be not an issue. That's not a problem. That's not necessarily a leak. Okay, so going through this, you get the idea here. I think that's the bulk of it. You may want to check for that building, and that one, like I said, was a great example of one that needs it. This here was a slight pitched roof, metal roof. You can look at that and make some judgment calls. I didn't really see anything that looked out of the ordinary. I'm going to do these two roofs I checked. I didn't see much there, but this one here, this is the physical plant main building. And I saw it's I think it's what do they call it? A spray foam roof. And I did see some signatures there. Now there are some vents. You can see, let's get the vertical piece. There are some vents definitely where you're going to see heat coming off. This is the west side, I believe. And so you're getting a little bit of loss of heat from the sunlight as it was going down or as it was cooling down. I came here twice because the first time it was the older drone that wasn't working so well. So the second time I came, I think I got better. One of the other times I came, I got better pictures. This picture here does a good job at showing. So as you go close up, these are vents here. I think there's a air conditioning unit up there. But this whole section here, I don't remember seeing anything. Let me get this big. I don't remember seeing anything in terms of much vent. So there are these blank spots, and the foam that was sprayed there is very lumpy. So there might be a good amount of pooling, especially in the winter. So possible moist. I forgot to just do my paste. And then because of that, I got some close-ups of it. And let's see if I got the good close-ups. Here's a picture. So it's kind of a valley area. You can see you've got sections. And I don't remember if there were any vents there, but just sections that are showing up as being warmer, possible moisture underneath there. Here's another one. Okay, so yeah, you get the idea there. And again, you can also always look in the actual pictures and note where the units are, which give off a lot of heat. But then when you compare it, you see there are other pockets where, in this case, that's showing up possible moisture. I can verify that here. But I hope you get the idea here how we worked with this to verify what was showing up for heat. Let's see. Let me go to the next building. The next one was Thompson. I don't remember seeing much on Thompson. This is a big, kind of a skyrise apartment building for the students. These are the scans. I did some side scans. You can see how much heat is bouncing off after sunset. So this one here, I personally didn't feel like these heat signatures here, I didn't feel like they were from leaks. It seemed more, there's a bigger picture. It seemed more like they were coming from the central vents coming out there. So as I scanned around, I didn't see much on there. My guess is they were recently re-roofed anyway. All right, so let's go on. Next big building is Brophy Hall. Okay, Brophy Hall. You can see the scan here. Let's go to the rooftop. It was darker when we took this one. We did several buildings that afternoon and that evening, and some of them, by the time we got to Brophy, and I did Brophy twice because of the thermal issue, the camera issue. You can see some signature there. That might be worth noting, but that's just the full pitch, so that full screen. So let's get a little closer. And unfortunately, well, actually, you know what these are? These are the walkways that they had between vents. And then the vents there, I put on the, can't see it here. I put on the camera, it comes with its spotlight on it, and had a look at some of these spots. So here is one area that you could see. Now you see these dots here. These dots are actually, they're probably not moisture. They're probably from the fastening down. But it's one of the things you look at, these fasteners as they put down. And I did a spotlight check of the area. Let's see some of these areas. Overall, I'm trying to think. I think there was one area that I thought, okay, this is something. Oh yeah, and this is the corner here. So this was during the daylight hours. You can see the ladder there. This is the vent that's going to definitely blow out air. But I'm seeing something here. Right there. And you can see I already marked it. I put possible moisture area, not because of the heat coming from there, but because you can see a line section there where it's possibly leaking or flowing along the joint. And I don't remember seeing a lot else. And unfortunately, when I did this one, I was getting frustrated because of the initial camera was not working as it was supposed to. So that's when we went out twice. We did the best we could, and that's all I picked up for there. Let me go to the next building. This is Wagner. So heat signatures on Wagner. So far, it looks pretty typical. You've got heat coming out at the different vent sites, equipment areas, some of the lines between them. Nothing to note right off there. And there's a chance, if I get time, I'll get out there again and have a look. But I did not remember seeing anything in particular off of Wagner. Let me get one more close-up. Yeah, you can see these heated areas. They seem all related to the vent areas and the drain lines. This is the west here. That's where the sun set. That's why it's got a lot more. Am I getting that right? No, I'm sorry. This is the east side. So the sunlight hit this spot. You get a lot more heat signature there. Okay, so that's Wagner. Let's move on to. All right, let's do the Student Rec Center. This one's Western Hall. That's the other half of the building. And I may have joined this one together. For some reason, the folder showed up. Oh, you know what? I think I did for the Western Hall. It's in this folder. I'll need to double check that. Make sure that's in there correctly. Oh, looks like I need to upload these two folders, so I'll make a note of that. The thermal pictures are not showing up on this one, and I think I have them on the thumb drive, but I did not upload them here. So that's good to remember. So I'll come back to that. Next, we have these Henniger Hall, what they call the quad buildings. I may have, because these buildings at this time are not being used, I may have lumped them all into one. So the thermals will be into one. And as you can see, the building themselves, there's the round structure here, and then three other buildings, two sky rises, and then one, I think this was the dining hall area. So I'm going to be looking at that, but just looking at the round structure, you can see here something is showing through right there. I may have already marked it. Okay, so this is the area. Some of it is maybe reflecting off of the other building, but this here is definitely a possible moisture section. So that's something worth looking into. It may even be coming from the upper section downward. You can see that again right there. It's taking me some time, but you get to the point where you see, okay, that's a signature there. That is not just reflecting or leftover heat. All right, so let me jump to the bigger buildings. And in this case, because these buildings were not being used currently, I think I lumped them all into one folder. So you see something that looks like something there, but keep in mind the roof type makes a difference. And what I mean is if if it's stone, if it's rock, it's a lot harder to get that signature through. So I'm not as detailed on this section. Looking for anything huge or big standing out in a large scale. And because of the rock issue, I didn't go too close. I just did the scan. You can tell this roof is kind of on the end of its life span. Okay, so that's for the quad buildings there, and they're all very similar. They're rock tops. This one here, I don't think, I'm going to double check that. Okay, so it's all lumped in there. And again, remember with the thermals, if I did not see any signature on there, then it's, I didn't take pictures. It was just, let's move on. We're only looking for anomalies. Okay, other large scale flat roofs. And again, I'll get the rec center uploaded here. Curran's Hall, this was a large multi-layered building. Okay, so you've got the heat signature. Get it from the top. This gives you an idea. I've got the corner piece. I know I got a head piece. I had to get way up high to get this one. I might have gone in reverse. Let's see. Here's the vent tower, the cooling tower is there. Okay, so as you see, I flew around. If I didn't see anything, didn't take pictures, but I did see a couple of things, and as I've realized now, I think these are just patches of water because it had rained recently, so they're not worth bringing up. Oh yes, and I just remembered this roof had just been re-roofed 3 months ago. So as expected, you shouldn't see anything on there. I changed the settings on the thermal readings. Again, just looking for anomalies, hot spots, warmer spots, even a temperature difference of 1-2 degrees. It might be something worth noting. This is a vent. Okay, so that one looked good. Checked out all right. Let's go to Morgan. Okay, Morgan, here's the full view, heat signature. Everything, it looks from far away, it looks okay. I mean, but that's where you need to go in closer. And here we go. I think in this case, similar to the other building before, is we're looking at water spots here. This is worth noting just because of the shape. But it could also just be a vent. The fact that it's a nice square could be that, okay, that panel, there's a panel there that might be saturated with water. And unfortunately, this one was kind of dark. I've learned now I could put the spotlight on. That looks like a vent. In this case here, looks like a vent, like a drain line. But you do see a signature of a square around. So it's possible, but I'm just going to put it down there as a note. It doesn't look serious. This was the one. Okay, so here we are on the, and I'm going to back up and show the full picture of the building. So you have the full section of the building. You got and it's a gated heating, air conditioning section. So this was the spot that I found. I thought, oh, this one definitely looks like a patch. Come to think of it, these others do kind of look like it, but let me go to the one I really that stood out a lot. It's right. Well, it's right here. Okay, so this is around that section that you could tell that there's a kind of a flowing outward effect and possible moisture on that section. That was here. And this one, it's not so much that area. It could be just warm, but then you have you got things like this, and even this tiny little. Well, let me make that a little better. A tiny little stream there. That could be along the lines of the panels. And then you've got a little bit there, but I don't. This one might not be. But again, if you're going to be up there, might as well say, hey, let's look in that section too. Okay, here are some other views of the same areas or corners. I'm going to put a little note there. I remember that there was a big one on this one, which again is this section here. And I need to double check because make sure this is the correct roof. This is Morgan. Okay, so you get the idea there, and I'll double check, make sure these roofs are organized, pictures are organized. If I move a picture, it will remember the notes that I took. And so far, this just looks like some venting, but just in case, I'll put that there. Okay, so I'll come back and double check that note. All right, so I think that's a good amount for Morgan. Let's go to the next structure, which is Stipes. And I'm going to show you just the overhead of what Stipes looks like first. There it is, upper section, upper deck, lower deck, heating air conditioning units on the side, or on the corner of the upper deck. Now let's get into the thermals. You can see some things showing up. And again, this is just big picture, so you can start getting into what else might be there. I adjusted my thermals. Not too much yet showing up. And I am not seeing a lot here, but I'm just going to a possible moisture section. Another view here. This could be, and keep in mind, we're not going just by color, but you do go by sections. This doesn't seem to, I'll put down possibly just areas that you could check. This, I think, is a vent here. And this last one, I put that there. I mean, there is a possibility here, but I'm just going to put that down for the sake of record keeping. Okay, so that's Stipes. I'll close several of these. And then we'll go to, we're actually more than halfway done. We're at the Malpass. Oh, excuse me, I catch myself. I'm not sure if we're about halfway done with the buildings. But hopefully this is something that you can refer to in the future and just reference out, map out what is where. All right, here is the library. Let's get the thermals on it. And here's a nice picture. A lot of heat going on around that area, especially with the skylights. All right, I'm going to get some close-ups because I didn't feel like I was getting much from the faraway pictures. I'm just going to outline a few sections here. These, notice here, you can see the shape of the panels. So there is a chance that there's a source. It doesn't say much, but you can see the grain of the panels underneath the surface. That's just a heads up that I put that there for viewing. These still seem centered around the area there. That's quite a bit of heat signature for a single vent or drain. Even here, I mean, and again, remember, these are just pointers. These are just recommendations. Okay. So overall, if somebody were to walk this roof, I would suggest having them look at all of the drains and just make sure it looks like they're caulked, sealed off, so that you don't get horizontal leaking around the drain areas. Okay, so that's the library. Where are we now? Let's go to Bow Health Center. This was it's a smaller building, and it's just a rectangular shape, pretty straightforward. You can see right off the top, though, there's some issues going on there. And I'm going to wait till I get closer. On these closer ones, yeah, I'm seeing spots there. And unfortunately, this one was a little darker, like darker in the day. There's definitely something there. I remember right, there was some paneling or something had been up there before on the pictures. Now I'm going to come back here. Oh yeah, that whole section there. Now I should have shown this at first, but you remember the picture, what's up top. You can see you've got areas that have been peeled away, maybe some repairs done. Here's the area where you're getting a lot of leaking, or a lot of moisture, I should say, under the surface. Let's get back into the thermals. I'm going to make a few more marks. And this one here also shows a lot. I mean, I don't know what it's like for the users in the building. There's definitely a lot of heat signature in that half of it, that corner, and then lots of spots. I mean, even here is showing up. And I've marked off the other sections, so again, without knowing anything what's going on underneath, I would say this one has several spots that have moisture penetrations. Oh, you know what? I just realized it is a rock roof, and so just keep that in mind. If it is a rock roof, and by rock it's got pebbles on top, the heat signatures, it's harder for them to bleed through. But I still think, considering that it was a nighttime, it was a cool night, you can still pay attention to the possibility that there's some heat sticking around in certain spots. That definitely is showing through. So, all right, let's go to Knobloch. This one is up for a re-roof, and I particularly wanted to see this one because it's always nice to get a roof that you know is in bad shape, just for thermal purposes, you know. And you've got sections that are peeled away, so just keep that in mind when I get through the thermals. All right, Knobloch, let's get the full, I'll get this angle view. You can definitely see this is the west side here, the right side, and that's going to be a little warmer, but it was pretty dark. It was nighttime when we took this one. Looking for heat signatures. Again, vents, okay. It's a little hard to see anything, especially with the rocks. Let's go to this one here. I would say it's hard to say overall. I mean, you could say, well, this whole area is possible moisture section, but and I know from experience, I know that Knobloch does leak. Has had some leaks. Okay, so you can see it's a little different reading, but you've got cloud patches here. Some are bigger, some are smaller. So that's just, something to note of. I'm not too worried about my accuracy on Knobloch because I know that this building is, was it 5 years overdue, 10 years overdue to get a re-roof. And they're about ready to get that. Okay. Unfortunately, this was a dark day, and I can see the value of doing it at dusk if you can, because then you still get just enough light. So yeah, that gives you an idea, just a quick view. The client in this case said we didn't even need to worry about doing that building because it was up for a re-roof. We just did it for fun. All right, here you have a more traditional blacktop rubber roof. This one was just re-roofed a year ago. And where is my folder? Oh, there's another one. I got to upload Union Building. Just 1 second. And again, my apologies. I do have the pictures. They're on the thumb drive. I just forgot to upload it to the Google Drive. And just to give you an idea, when I upload a folder here, it takes 10 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes, because if the files are large. So it was a lot of setting up uploads and then just walking away and doing something else, coming back to it. I'll come back to this later. All right, let's move on. I'm going to go to Brown Hall. This is has a theater, multi-levels, very complex layered roof in terms of elevations, and it is a black rubber top. You see, let's get the structure view of it. You can tell it's been added on to different style roofs. This is the spray foam on the left, and you've got the rubber top, and then you've got rock pebbles on top there. So let's get the thermal views. And remember, this upper section is rock, so you're going to get different readings on it. Oh, this is a video. Yeah, I just ran the film just a little bit while I hovered over it. Let me get into the details because, again, if it didn't seem like it was having an issue, we wouldn't bother taking pictures. See the pictures here? You got sections here. I need to wait till I get some close-ups. This is the upper section. It's rock, and I personally didn't, trust too much what it said. But if I were to say where are the hot spots, looks like here. I'm getting here. And this side here, I mean, it could be, but I think this is the west end. So a little more sunlight, residual heat there. And then it looks like, boy. And I will say this, I had because I work at this section, I had a student that worked there. She was in the theater department. She says it does leak quite a bit there. So, but keep in mind, this is just pebbled roof, pebbled section. Okay, let me come down. Let's go to this part. This is the spray foam roof section. Actually didn't look too bad, at least from this picture's point of view. I don't think I took any pictures on that one because it wasn't showing, didn't show a lot of close-ups. I mean, it didn't show a lot of issues with heat loss. Let's go into here. So you got this section. Okay, here, I'm going to point this out. Got a good amount there. As you get closer, this again looks just like the roof, or excuse me, the vent heat. This is from the units. I already marked this section. You could say that there's a possibility of, oops, we got to get out of the possibility of this whole area being somewhat moist. So that might be just a quick view of that. This case, I got a little closer, and I marked off these before. You can see where there are some possible heat areas. It might even be possible. You might want to consider this, but okay, let's move on. And as I flew around, if I didn't see anything else, I didn't mark off. You can see here, one of the corners, definite moisture patch there. You could even, I mean, if you're going to be up there, you could look at this here too. All right. That gives you an idea for brown. Let's move on to the next building. Here we are at the Sally Hall. Sally Hall has a lot of equipment on top. Oh, no, that's not the one. It's the one next to it. So pretty standard roof. This is a rock pebble top, so keep that in mind. You do have some sections that are peeled away. See that in the thermal images. Let's get the top view. Okay, so you can see some general warmer areas. And it's always tough with pebbles, but I'm just going to say possible moisture there, maybe a little bit there. These are with kind of a caveat that it is pebbles. Possible there. And maybe here, maybe. And keep in mind, just always remember that what we're looking at is, as the sun sets, the roof starts to cool. What sections are staying warm? What sections are staying warm after everything else cools at a faster rate? So, just off the top of that, I know this looks like a lot, but if somebody were we're going to go up there, these are, places they could look at. Now, this perspective here, I filtered a little more, and again, it's a toss-up. It's unsure. This picture here shows some heat signatures again right there. It could be the whole area, but that's definitely a warmer spot. It's a warmer spot. But boy, you got a whole lot of warm area. Okay, let's move on. Multicultural. Now this, I don't know that the thermal imaging does this much justice. And the reason is because you've basically got soil on the roof, and soil is probably very difficult to distinguish. It's like taking pictures of the ground. So I'm doing one here, but I don't think that this is very meaningful for looking at heat signatures. So I'm going to pass on with that one. Let's get to the OPS, Office of Public Safety, Mowbray. On this one, I definitely found some things. So here's your visual. It's pretty straightforward. Rectangle building with a rubber top. Get the full picture here. Simple and straightforward. A little bit of water patches there from a recent rain. But what happens when you get to the thermals? You start to see a lot more. This building, I would guess, has some issues. The best picture I found, this is along the front entrance area. Now remember, there's just a couple of spots with water, right? Just a couple of tiny spots. It was dark, so it's hard to see, but definitely you see the moisture on it is pretty big. In fact, there's another spot there. I don't even think that spot was wet. This picture gives a better idea. And again, remember, these were just tiny spots of water, but large spans of large spans of heat signature on them. So my guess is that front section has some issues of the building, at least through the insulation. I don't remember catching anything else. Everything else seemed to be in pretty good order, at least from a thermal point of view. Here's another view of that front section. Okay, let's move on. Somehow I got separated from the rest of my section there. Give me 1 minute to close these. All right, now I can see I'm pretty sure we're past the halfway mark. And I'm sorry this is long. Hopefully this is something that you can review here over time. Let's move on. We've got the Sodexo Campus Services Hall. I do remember seeing some things here, but if I remember right, it's a rock pebble roof. It is. It's a pebble roof. Here's what it looks like. This one was hard to get a full picture because it's so long. But this is part of it. This is the half side of it. Okay, so because it's a pebble roof, take all this with a grain of salt. But we still might get some signatures there. So here is an angle view. You can see it's fairly warm. I needed to adjust my filters on the camera. There's another one. Here's it going left, right. So you see areas that are more hot than others. That's worth noting. The roof looked old, and I'm guessing that there's some need for repair, or it's got some leak issues. Right there. and maybe a little bit. I don't know about this section here, but it's possible. The west in this case is on the left, so as the sun sets, it's going to show up on the left more, or excuse me, aiming from the left. You can see here, well, let me go with this one. So this is what it looks like here. I'm going to compare that with the visual, the picture one. So you see this is the one side looking down. I can't remember if this is the east or the west side, but you can kind of angle that out. But you do see there's just a lot of heat signature there, and it supposedly is just rock. So that's, yeah, my guess is this roof has a long history of things going on. This whole section, I mean, you could do the whole slab of the roof, but you could definitely see things here. As far as I know, it's not, these aren't vents or anything like that. Okay. Anyway, you could spend more time on that one, have a look at it, but you get the idea of what things are possibly worth looking at. I'm going to put a couple more there. This one here showing up. All right, let's move on to, now we're done with Sodexo Campus Services Hall. Let's move on. I'm not going to do the heat plant because it's obviously putting out a lot of heat and the roofs just show up as warm. But I'm going to keep moving south. This is Tillman. Let's see. I'm going to restore that. That one must have accidentally gotten pulled out. So here is Tillman. I did talk to somebody that teaches there, works there, and he did say that he thinks his roof is in the worst condition on campus. So you can see it's a rectangle building. Was it 4 or 5 stories high? Let's get to the thermals. And you know what? By the way, after doing the scans, I concluded that I think he may be up there. You can see the heat signature here, but I think this is a rock roof, if I remember right. I should have checked that. Sorry. Yep, it is a rock roof. So take everything with a grain of salt. But as you look here, this one shows a good amount. There was one section that I thought was showing up quite a bit more. Well, you could see larger heat signature there. Definitely something there. And you can see that there are cooler spots and warmer spots there, which possibly means thermal signatures. And then I ran the scan, like really narrowed down the temperature variances. And so, again, these are rocks. You can take that for what it is. I'm going to leave that alone. In this picture here, though, you do see something showing up here, right there. It's not showing up around it, But I thought there was one picture. Oh, this is the one. Okay. So I believe this is on the south side. I'd written this off earlier, but this is outside of the air conditioning heating tower area, and you have this huge blob of heat, and it just not really centered around a vent. I think there's a lot of pooling, a lot of moisture there. And again, I think that's on the, I'm going to guess it's the south side. Here it is again. Same thing. So I need to get back to that friend of mine and say, hey, I think you're right. I think your roof is leaking. There's a third one there. Now, I'm going to mark off one more spot next to the tower. Not because it's possible that there is some moisture there. I'm just pointing out possible sections for leaks or underground moisture seep. I don't remember if this one showed it or not. I think that's just the fence. Yeah, that's just the interior of it. Okay, keep moving. Art gallery. I don't remember that there was much here. Rectangle top building, pretty straightforward. A few small layers, different level layers, but not much there. Let's do the quick scan of it. Oh, I need to come back to this one and do a scan. So these ones that I've missed, I've got 4 that still need to be uploaded. And this is the art gallery. I won't include them on this video, but I will put some detailed marks on them on the thermal pictures so that you can just, it's along the same lines of what I've done here. And so that you can get a view of you know, what I found, what you might want to consider looking at. This next building is called Garwood. It's right next to the front Sherman Hall building. It's a pitched roof. It's got, I think it's clay tile. So let's get into the thermals on here. I was told that there might be some issues there. There are, but I could not sense much from the camera point of view. I don't even remember if there's anything that showed up thermal wise. I don't think there was. And again, this is pitched roofs. Pitched roofs are harder to check for leaks, but you can find, you know, hot spots on here. And I didn't even find hot spots on there. So feel free to look through that if you want. Let's move to, well, let's go to Sherman Hall. This is the signature historic building out of Western Illinois University. I'm going to do a quick flyby just so you can see the size and the you know, the variables there. You got pitched roofs, you got a bell tower or a cupola as they call it. I back my thing up so I can get, I play it for a few seconds, back it up so I can get a clear picture. You've got lots of vents. You've got a black top, rubber top, but it's also pitched slightly. And lower tiers, parapet wall, and gutters. So that's what we're looking at. I'm going to go right to the thermals. And initially, we flew this twice, you know, doing views. Didn't catch much the first time around. This is the west side where the sun had been warming up more recently. This is the front. Lots of heat loss there just on the front side, but that's typical. It wasn't until I made the second pass later in the evening on a different day, and then I found this, and I scanned the whole building. All I found was this patch that's on this is the rubber top. Had 2 spots there, and then I put on the what do you call it? The flashlights. And this is when I came back with the lights. It's got a really bright light on it. I see that it had already been marked, and there's something else here, you know, causing a little bit of heat there. But it looks like they found it already, so that's good. All right, so that was all we found for Sherman. Let's move on to the next Simkin Hall. Oops, I apologize. I was supposed to show a overhead view. Simkin Hall, again, multi-levels. It's got I think it's a copper or a tile top, clay top. This is an older style white, I can't remember the title of it, roof. And then you've got the black rubber section here. We did find a few spots here that seem to show up thermally. So let's show what they look like. We flew this one twice also because of the issues we were having. You can see the first set of camera pictures. It showed heat, but we weren't able to get the type of signature we were looking for. And the camera was malfunctioning from the beginning. That really caused a lot of frustration on this project. Probably about 4 weeks of just not being productive because we're working with faulty machinery. Okay, so here you've got your heat signatures on your vents, pretty normal, but we did have this show up here. There's no vent there, so that definitely is standing out. I think I got another view here, and I'm going to mark. I notice here another spot, possible moisture. That first corner that I showed, this is a close-up. You can see the vent, the heat there, but definitely a spot right on that. This is the southeast corner, so that definitely is something to look at. You could consider some of these other signatures coming up. I don't know that this one is really much, but I'm just putting it down. Okay, and outside of that, we didn't see a lot of signature readings. I'm going to put this one little one. So now I'm on the back building. This is the flat roof, black top area. And here's a little signature. I don't think that's much. It's right next to all of this heating air conditioning equipment. This is a vent. And you can give you an idea. This is what the thermal camera sees. And at night, this is what you see from the normal photography camera. So not much showing up there until we got to the joint right between the flat roof and the older section there. We started seeing this signature here, and it is water. It's a little bit of water there, maybe about, I don't know, 4 inches thick, wide. But as we got closer, we saw that there's a little trail of water, there, and yet a huge heat signature showing up. So this whole area right between the two sections, the two building areas, was showing up good amount of heat signature there. There's one more here. I think that's a reflection off of something else, so I'm not going to mark that one. And this is the farther away part of the building there. And you might see a little bit something there, but this roof looks like it's in pretty good shape. If anything, it'd be right there. But I'm not going to mark that one. And last but not least, we did put the spotlight on it because I was catching a signature on this. The signature was right in that area, I think it was. Very faint, though, you can see, and possibly along this groove there. But keep in mind, oh, you know what? That's probably not, because this here, when there's a joint in the rubber, it shows up as a slight variation in temperature, but definitely at the section between the lower and the upper part of the building. So let's go back. Okay, I think we're rounding the corner. We did we did Sherman Hall. Now let's get to the student apartments. Another skyrise here, our multi-level apartment building. This is what it looks like. There's two of them. In fact, I'm just going to show the video of it because you can see what both look like. So there are two structures next to each other. I'm flying above one, and then I'm pointing down at the other one next to it. And there's a cafeteria section below. So we're doing a scan of these for the thermals. I think I put both of them on the same file folder here. But overall, I did a scan. I did not see, it's hard to tell here. You could say, it looks like there's a little bit of a signature there. Let me get that. It could be. I'm just putting it down as something possible there. Here's another angle view. No, I don't think that's an issue. And this was done with the older camera, the camera that was not as reliable, but I will say there's definitely some heat loss there that you're not seeing in other areas. Again, if you're going to be on the roof, you can check out that area, that section. The rest of this, though, does not look to be showing any hot spots. This one here, that was just I think it was a sensor, a camera or something. So overall, I did not find anything off of this. If you were to request, I could do another flyby to check with the other camera. Okay, we're just down to a couple more sections here. This one is Grody Hall. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And this one, we did find some spots. It looks like it had been inspected recently. And so, I think we're just helping to confirm some things. And I think we might have found a few things that were not marked before. So you see the shape, it's got an angular turn to it. It's got kind of a turret sections, but it's all flat, one layer. One layer, and so we'll get the close-ups of this. And again, this one had been inspected before, as I was told. And so let's see what we've got. First of all, let's just show these long sections. That's the walkway, so it's going to show up as warmer. But you see an example here where it was previously marked as a section with a leak. So that's definitely a spot, moisture there. And here, I think we saw something else. This is also showing up. Let's jump over to another camera view. See what I see on the structure. Okay, there's some spots here, but I'm going to wait till we can get a little closer. And I'm going to run it, the actual picture and then the thermals. So you can see they've marked off 1, 2, 3 sections, and the heat signatures do show up 1, 2, and where did the third one go? I think it was that one. But we're also getting a little something here. That may be more recent. So I'm going to I'll just let these guys, I'll mark where they've marked before. I've lost my spot. There's my third mark. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so that idea there, here's another angle. Same things. I'm not going to mark these, but they've already been marked. Well, okay, I guess I am going to mark it. Same views, and already marked just the opposite end. Same things. You get the idea here. All right, moving the drone further, in this case south. You can see they have marked there. They marked there, but the heat signature I'm getting is a little off in a different direction. A little further up to the upper left-hand side. Some of these vents, I don't see anything out of order. I'm going to move on. Okay, so they've got some marks that I'm not getting a heat signature on. And this part here, this was a confirmation. So this is the end of that building. Here I was getting a heat signature in this area. It might just be coming from this building here, but as you look a little closer, I'm going to zoom in. There is, the right side is the west, so the sunlight was hitting to the east. There's a possibility that that's just coming from, oops, I lost my place. There's a possibility that that was just coming from sunlight, residual heat, but you can see they marked it there, and I can see why. I mean, if you look, that whole corner is marked off there. The rest of it, nothing standing out too much. So a lot of confirmation here of what was already marked, maybe a little bit of extra, but you get the idea there. Okay, let's get to the big buildings up top. This is Washington Hall. Skyrise building, pretty simple up top. Blacktop rubber. And you can see it looks like it's not too old of a roof. Let's get to the thermals. It's hard to tell from this angle, but you got a lot of heat here. It could just be from the vents. That's my guess. A lot of spots here that might be worth checking. But I'm going to wait till I get closer to see if I can get a better view. So here, a lot of heat loss. I am see some streaking here, and that's possibility of leaking going through the vents. You've also got this spot there, which I don't know if it's, well, let's see. Oh yeah, that's from a mix between the two types of pictures. Okay, so still I'm not seeing, I mean, you could, nah, I'm going to leave that blank. Okay, another view here. I probably should get in a little closer. There we go. Okay, so for the sake of, you could say, well, might be a little bit of moisture here. That might be the west side, though. I'm getting a lot of spots here. It's at least worth looking at visually. I don't think this area here, this lower part, is anything. I think that's just air blowing out. And then here's the picture here. So just some overall general things, but nothing like spots. And it's a smaller surface area. Okay, so here's the other. Did I get both? Oh, that's the one. Okay, let's get the other building. It's the other skyrise building. Okay, same top. So I'm gonna skip that part. Here though, I am seeing a little more of a blast area. This section here for heat. And I think the bottom here is the west side. So that, because it's going along the ribs though, the ribs of the ridges between the valleys, I guess you could call them, between the panel boards. I'll put that down. And I don't know what this is here. Let's see what the picture is. There could be something here. Well, I'm going to go to the thermal side. So there's something going on here. I'm going to do the whole section. Oh, sorry, make it a little bigger. There, possible moisture. And on the left side, I think there's a heating HVAC unit there. Yeah, and that's probably blowing off a bunch of heat. So maybe not so much an issue. I'll see if I can get another angle on that. So the heating air conditioning unit is there. The little you know what? I'm going to say, oh, yeah, this thing's there's definitely, in both cases. And the reason, where was I? I'm right here. Oh, shucks, I lost my spot. Give me just a minute to get back to where I was here. Because this is definitely, something's going on there. Because of the way, see how the heat signature follows pattern? That's probably foam board. So I'm guessing you've got a leak that's going vertical or horizontal, coming from that direction. So yeah, you see some definite signatures there. Let's see one more. I don't see anything on the top section, but yeah, I'd see that's a possible area to look at. So okay, so that, I think we're just about done. Let's move on to and I hope you don't mind, this is a long video, but if anybody, as long as you follow the pattern that we went from, north up in Quad Cities down, and then from the northern part of campus down, It's helpful to just, you can go fast forward and back up and see what the condition is in terms of the thermal readings. This is the dining hall for the this last apartment set of buildings that I had. Pretty straightforward, white top roof, insulated. Let's see the thermals. Remember with cafeterias, you have a lot of blow off of vents. And so what we're getting here, we get a little closer. Let's see. All right, I'm going to cover that section. For some reason, I'm getting a lot here. That could just be a heat signature. Well, there's a walkway. Could be the walkway. That one's definitely something on the right side there. It could be that whole corner. And let me get some of these angle pictures. Okay. I think these are just walkways here. This could be a little bit of something, but it's hard to tell. I have to look at the other video or the other pictures to see if that is a vent or not. What's funny is I remember taking these, and this was probably one of the earlier ones, but I remember taking the pictures and thinking, that building looks fine. And now here I am looking at it again. It's probably the benefit is you put this at somebody's desk and they have some time to think about it. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit there. I'm going to mark that one. A little more comfortable place to look. Now, I can't tell if that is a walkway or not. I'm guessing it is, but I don't see it quite well. Now it looks like there's walkways all along here, so you'll have to look at the visual. I guess that's what we could do now too. So as we look, there it is. Oh yeah, it is a walkway. You got panels laid down, so that's not a moisture signature. Okay, I think that's the main part of it. As I understand it, this is the last set of structures. These others are residential, and we don't do the thermals on those because they're pitched roofs and smaller and things. But overall, let me jump back to the presentation slides. So that's an overview of the sample thermals. Hopefully that's helpful to not only show you what we've done, but give you an idea of how to kind of help discern, is this, literally look like moisture under the surface, or is it just from something else? And then at this point, I just want to leave my contact information. Also for question and answer, you can send me emails, and my email address there. Facebook account is Monaco Sky, and then I have a phone number. Again, if you have any questions or other things you needed to discuss. Hopefully this is helpful. I thought it was a 3-week, 4-week project of actual work, and I thought this needs to be summarized, and hopefully this helps to summarize what it is that we've done, what we accomplished, and something I can use to demonstrate what is possible with this type of technology. Thank you very much. Again, this is Brian Stone with Monaco Sky. Thanks.